we're going to move on to yay or nay, where we have a lightning round. I'd posted on Facebook and on Twitter about house rules. What kind of house rules do you like? On Facebook, I got a lot of responses. So I'm going to list them, and the panelists can give a thumbs up or a thumbs down if they don't like it. And definitely the two most common house rules was about health potions. Administering a potion to yourself would be a bonus action as opposed to a full action. Some of the people had suggested if you take a full action, you get the maximum benefit. And if you do it as a bonus action, then you roll. Which I kind of like that idea too, because then there's a bit of player choice. Do I want to give up a full action here? Am I that desperate?
I might actually end up adapting that one because currently, because currently I have it that they automatically get the max amount of HP and it's a bonus action. But if I break that into two, that would be really interesting. So yay for me.
Yeah. Okay, another one, yay or nay. Someone on Twitter posted an idea of a communal loot bag. So that basically when loot has been gained, but has not been, let's say, taken by a certain person, that the party has the loot bag. During combat, they can use a bonus action or action to take of something from the loot bag that was not otherwise on their person. Yay or nay?
It had me until the combat clause.
I didn't like it until the combat clause, until the actual bonus action, funny enough. Like, I think my initial reaction was, no, like, the player has to claim the loot. But then to think, oh, you have to reach into the bag, and there's that randomness element I kind of like. But I can see why Jada would be iffy on that with the action and combat.
Yeah, I like the idea of it not counting towards one person's encumbrance. But where is it in combat? You know, how far apart are the players? At that point, it kind of breaks. I mean, not that I'm looking for realism in my fantasy games, but it kind of breaks plausibility for me.
Okay.
I do believe I did end up like reading Joel's notes because you have it on the communal sheet. But it stated that it was treated as if it was always on that person, like on the person. Like
they would get to role play like how they look, I happen to find it right here, kind of thing.
It's like, oh yeah, I've always like. Unbeknownst to anyone, I put it in my back pocket and just so happens conveniently have an immovable rod to use against this man and pin him down right now. Click.
Okay.
I
Shenanigans.
sorry.
Shenanigans.
I would accept a rule like that if the first person to use the communal bag in combat is the person that it is now locked to for combat.
Yeah.
Where that person is now claiming this is the location in which the communal bag is. If you were thinking to pull something from it, sorry, you're going to have to actually physically come to me to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one that I got. In combat, if a roll matches the armor class, there is a dice off. You roll a straight d20, and whoever rolls the highest will win. Yay or nay?
Gonna be a nay for me.
I like the consistency.
I just have to say, even though I thumbs down it, I really appreciate the creativity that goes into it.
Totally. I think it's because for a lot of players, like, what? Oh, they feel ripped off, kind of thing.
Yeah, like it is that kind of rules. House rules like that kind of start to get in and start monkeying with the math of the game, and that's something you have to be very careful about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we talked about initiative. When you tie an initiative, it goes to your dex bonus. I could see have the dice off for your tie on initiative.
Yeah.
Do it for stuff like that, but in combat, it just doesn't feel fair to me to have that inconsistency.
Okay, here's the next one. We're used to doing dexterity for initiative. What about perception being allowed to use for initiative?
Yay! Yay, 1,000,000%
Yay
yay!
or
I
nay?
already have a rule like that in my game.
Oh.
I'll
I
say
think it
nay.
depends on the situation.
It's a really good question.
Josie, what
I'll
about
say
you?
I'll say nay with a caveat that if you're outside of combat, yes, I would allow players to decide who does what outside of combat based off of your perception.
Yeah. I will say though, it's not like the perception modifier. It's only you can use wisdom or dexterity for your initiative bonus.
Not perception.
Yeah, not the perception modifier,
Right.
but just.
I mean, I guess I kind of imagine, like, let's say you've got a group and there's, guys talking to, oh, yeah, you think you're going to do something? And the ranger out back, he's got his arrow, drawn, and he sees this guy's hand moving. Like, that's a perception thing. He sees, he's ready to react to something.
See, but we have something like that already where, if somebody chooses to take an action outside of combat, I mean, usually in that situation, like if a ranger has a weapon drawn on a target that they feel is getting overly aggressive and they feel it's now time to act, they're just going to act.
Yeah.
And that action is going to typically go off and then you roll initiative.
Right. Yeah, a
So
surprise
you
round,
kind of
I
already
guess.
have something like that in place.
Okay. All right.
I think I would accept a perception modifier on initiative if it were a surprise attack, and if maybe their passive perception were higher than the initiative that the enemies rolled. I would allow them to do passive perception as initiative, maybe.
Okay.
I like that.
Lingering injuries. Do you use them or no?
I don't, but I'd love to.
Yeah.
As much as I would
that.
love to, I don't have them in my games, but yes, have them.
I was gonna say Fate uses consequences. So when I'm running Fate, I do use that because that's like, if you take more than a certain amount of damage, then maybe you have a sprained ankle for the rest of the scene, or you broke your leg, whatever. I don't use it outside of Fate so much because this isn't really. It's not part of what makes D&D fun, right? I don't want to do a dungeon crawl with a limp.
Yeah.
Stacking advantage. Let's say the owl familiar has distracted an enemy, and now you are, which gives advantage to the next attacker, and that enemy is flanked. Would you give 3 d20s to roll?
I think that sounds like fun.
Okay.
No, but I would really, if the players made a really convincing argument, they could argue for like a +2 advantage or a +2 bonus on that.
Yeah. A thing like that I am delving into when it comes to making my own rule set for my own RPG in the works, very far from ever being complete, but in the works, is an adaptation of the advantage disadvantage system, where it has a scaling version of it, where you have minor, moderate, and major, in which it's only the major that is you roll 2. Minor would be +2, moderate would be +5, and that 2 moderates end up pushing you over to that major. So scaling and stacking not initiative, but advantage in that way, absolutely. But adding a tertiary dice that it's already an 80% increase to rolling 2 dice already. Adding another one on top of that basically just guarantees success.
Yeah, to me, it's a little bit like give an inch, take a mile. You can be
Yeah.
like, hey, if we do this, well, we get to roll 4 d20s kind of thing. It's like, no, that's just too much. Okay, counterspell. This was a big one on Facebook. There was a couple people saying, I don't allow counterspell. So if not counterspell, are there other spells that you say, no, that's cheesy, whatever? Would you veto a spell altogether, yay or nay?
No.
Okay.
No.
I would
There-
definitely agree.
Yeah, spells are a large part of the character's kits.
Yeah.
I don't want to place additional limitations on their ability to like express themselves and their characters mechanically in the game. And if ever, like the only situation where a spell gets banned in the game is if the players are just like, can we please just not play with this spell? Then I'd be like, all right, sure. Because it's just to cater to the experience that like they like want. Once again, house rules made for the benefit of the players and the table, not against it.
My players in Strahd right now are a higher level. They've been to the castle. They have to go back. And they're in kind of the penultimate area of the game. And the Warlock has Counterspell ready, and they cannot wait to use it. Why would I take that away from them?
Yeah.
But like, they're like, oh man, okay, we're gonna use it at the right time. The enemy's gonna try and do this, and I can counterspell that kind of thing. Yeah, it's like in chat too. When an enemy counters what you think is gonna be a game changer, and to have it taken away from you is also a great moment.
Yeah.
One last one.
Well, I just want to add something really quick to that idea of banning spells. Is your players will do things that you as a DM absolutely hate, but if it's creative thinking and it succeeds, then, for example, I had a whole scenario where it played in one of my characters' backstories where they were in a town from their childhood, and it was all illusion and the BBEG's creation. Well, our cleric cast Dispel Magic, and I'm like, I hate that idea because it's such an easy solution to a complex problem. And he rolled a nat 20 on the Dispel Magic for it. And what was supposed to be this really in-depth character exploration just was washed away.
Yeah.
But that was very creative problem solving on their part, and that should be rewarded.
Okay. One last yay or nay. Cantrips are a bonus action always. Josie, you gotta decide.
Tough one. I think you know what? That's actually a really, really cool idea. What I would probably roll with is there is a rule that has been used on Critical Role that I found very interesting, and I haven't yet implemented in my games, but I've been debating it, which is being able to use leveled spells like bonus action and action on the same turn. Because if the players are willing to burn through their spell slot that quickly, more power to them.
That I do allow.
So bonus action cantrips, if the party had a sorcerer, I would say no. And I would allow for a point of exhaustion if somebody wanted to cast bonus action cantrips for an encounter. Like at the end of the encounter, doesn't matter how many you cast, point of exhaustion.
If a player came to me and said, I want to do that as a feat and it will take my ability score increase, I'll take that feat instead, I would allow that as a homebrew feat. But I would not allow anyone to do that.
Yeah. Like there would have to be some kind of transaction. Some resource has to be expended here in order to get a perk like that. Because cantrips, just in general, are already kind of powerhouses when it comes to like the spell casters. It allows them to continue to be viable even after they've spent their entire spell slot load. No need to continue to pump more into that.
Yeah.
Well, that's fair. I can see requiring a limitation to it.
Well, that's why I would suggest having a consequence at the end of combat. Like if you're going to do this regularly, even if you cast one cantrip as a bonus action during combat, point of exhaustion at the end. If you're casting 2, 3, 4, doesn't matter how many, point of exhaustion at the end. Yeah. So that they have that cumulative effect where if they're going to be doing it in back-to-back encounters, well, okay, you're going to have to pick and choose which encounters you're doing this in.
I just also wanted to say that this has turned into a beautiful practice of game development as we're like being like pitched rules and we're just like, no, but under this circumstance, with this
or yes and
caveat,
no but.
Okay, so I'll throw one more. I just took my notes, so I saw one more that's good. If you are saved from death by success roll or revivify or whatever, that your failed saves stay with you until a long rest. Jade, yay or nay?
I kind of like that.
It's sort of like lingering injuries, but yeah, it's a little more maybe urgency to what needs to get going. Shadeen, what do you think? Yay or nay?
I would say yay to it, though. Well, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna say yay.
For something like that, I would probably rule not that they keep their failed or succeeded death saves, all of them anyway. I would say that for each time that they drop below 0 in combat and they fail or succeed a roll, they're keeping one of those, one for each category. So if you're having to do a death save and you fail, but somebody gets you back up, you're still keeping that one death save. But if you're at 2, you're rolling back to 1. So if it's happening back to back multiple times, like you keep putting yourself in danger, there's a cumulative effect there. So it's not as punishing, but still.
Well,
Yeah,
and snake ply skin special. There we go.
Oh, Pliskin.
That was another very common one as well on the Facebook thread that I had, is that if you're healed from death, that you gain a level of exhaustion.
I would say in 99% of cases, nay to that rule. But there's a very special type of player, and there's a very special type of campaign that I would love to run, where it's gritty realism, week-long long rests, day-long short rests, and I would implement that rule.
And encumbrance, would you be using encumbrance?
Yes, encumbrance. You will have to drink your water and eat your food, or take levels of exhaustion. Like
You're sick.
Invite me to that game.
I totally have the same kind of thing. I really want to do something like that.
I want to drudge.
Yeah.
I want to really feel the weight of the world on my shoulders.
yes,
Totally.
like every day would be a challenge to survive in that campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put me in, coach. I'm
Put me
in.
in. Sign me up.